It's King of Fighters time! Hello, welcome to another figure review. Today we're gonna have a look at the Storm Collectibles. The King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match, Iori Yagami, and Storm Collectibles finally continuing the King of Fighters line. I've been waiting for this one because you get a lot of special stuff that comes with it. Actually, we have all of these orb parts that we have to collect. One came out with Rugal, one with Kyo, and now we finally got Iori and Terry. Also, got him in the box, review coming soon, but now let's have a look at Iori. It all began in 94, kept on rolling in 95, peace fell into place in 96, it all come to an end in 97, and now it comes, and here we go, the KOF is here again! That was the intro of KOF 98 Ultimate Match. I love that song. Also, I think the regular KOF also had the same, KOF 98 also had the same song! 19 centimeters to the top of the head. Actually, KOF 98 Ultimate Match is actually one of my favorite fighting games, probably. It's so smooth and so much fun. 7.5 inches to the top of his head as I go over all of them things. Now, look and detail of the figure. I love the face sculpt. I think it looks very nice. It looks accurate to, well, some of the old game pictures. Because it's supposed to be 98, but vastly inconsistent. And I'll get to that in a second as I look at the face sculpt. He got a little bit of black around the eyes, and the eyes look a little bit more glazed, so I like that compared to the rest of the face. But he really has that stern look. It looks somewhat realistic, but also a little bit anime, and I like the mix of that stuff. Then he got the hair sculpt, which here's a part where you can debate about, like, arguably his hair was never this long. That depends. I say arguably because I looked at some pictures from various Iori designs, models, whatever, and you know, it changes. It really changes a lot. Sometimes it's pretty short, not even going down a lot, and other times it's what we're looking at right here, right now. I don't hate it, but I do think it's a little bit too thick and maybe a little bit too long, but that would be a nitpick. However, what's not a nitpick is the awful paint job on his choker, or whatever you want to call this. I don't know why they molded this on, because like Storm Collectibles is really good at making single pieces, and yeah, they molded this entire part and horribly painted it. I say horribly, you might not see it that well, but it really goes over the line, and there seems like there's some black mess missing in the middle of it. It's a little bit more of a bigger complaint because the rest of the figure doesn't have that much stuff to do. There's not a lot of paint on it, but that's the design of the character, because, you know, it's a fighting game character from 98. They didn't have the polygons, they even didn't have the technology to put on the detail on it that we have now in characters. So it all looks pretty plain, but they captured it very nicely. You got the symbol on the back and all the detail. You got the little buttons over here painted. The low ones aren't. Again, that is game accurate, so don't give them any flag for that. And you have the other ones on the wrists. And the fists, you got the one ring on the middle finger. Then we go down to the legs. He has the belt. I call this a belt that's connected to his legs, which that actually is a single piece. You could probably take this off. It's not connected anywhere, so you can rotate it around. And yeah, once we get to the articulation, you'll know it's not really an issue. And then we got more belt buckles in the shoes, and it really rounds it off. Now, moving on to the articulation. When it comes to articulation, I always talk about the Storm Classic because most of them are the same. But we do have a little bit of differences here and there for this guy. Overall head articulation, moves forward, moves to the back, goes side to side, goes all the way around, and you also have some neck articulation, which you can move forward like this and really kind of push on the neck. I feel like the soft plastic they used for the entire chest piece over here is a lot softer than usual, so as such, it's easier to move around. Now, the big change, well, big change, is in the shoulder piece. You still have a ball hinge in the shoulder itself and one in the torso, but you now have a pretty long ball pack in between there, which you can move up and down. Just a pack. I said ball pack, but yeah, it's a pack that goes into a ball. So, still correct, technically. So yeah, you can move that forward. It does leave a pretty big gap over here, but it's not the worst thing in the world. You can still kind of try to pull this down, kind of try to put it into position, and hide these things, because this is all soft plastic, as you can tell. It just moves around with it, so there's not really an issue with it. Then we got also rotation in this entire piece. Then we got a double hinged elbow, which for whatever reason doesn't go up all the way. Also is kind of ugly, doesn't really fill up the gaps. Then we got a fist on a ball hinge, which disconnects actually, goes up, down, and swivels all the way around and off. Well, that's kind of annoying, but it doesn't break off. At least we got that. Chest articulation goes to the back quite a bit, goes forward, same thing, doesn't leave any gaps, does tilt side to side, does rotate, yeah, it would go all the way around. And for the lower torso, the hips have a soft plastic crotch piece, so again, there's nothing really hindering it. And for the kicks, actually, the belt is nice and rubbery, so it does stretches out a bit and it doesn't get into the way of your leg articulation. But actually, I didn't really look at the hips really. It has some side to side rotation, does also wiggle, can tilt it, and back and forth. But yeah, I would really be careful because it's really just a small piece over there. It's like a thong. I don't know. Doesn't really cover it up nicely and does. I'm just afraid it gets stuck. But anyway, back to the legs, rotation side to side. Then you got the double hinged knee joint. That's it. That's all I'm getting out of it. Or is it stuck? It seems very stiff. I feel like I could get a little bit more out of it, but I guess that's it. That is awkward. And for the feet, they go up. Not much, also not down that much, because the pants are just blocking it. So you can still rotate it side to side a tiny bit, but overall foot movement is pretty limited. And finally, you got a toe hinge. You might have noticed at the beginning of the video that the box is pretty big, and that's because it houses quite a bit of stuff, and I'm just gonna go over the hands real quickly. Got some booby grab hands, also with the ring on it, posing hands, and really just like open, just posing. He doesn't have anything to hold. Well, he got the energy effect, so you can rest some stuff probably on the open hands. And then you got the face sculpts, the smirk, and these are super dark, I can barely see it on the camera. Gritting teeth face, really that getting angry, and the laughing face, obviously maniacal laugh. And then for the energy effects, let me take those out just to spin them around a little bit, because like it's always troublesome to spin the hands around and just be like, there's the hands, can you see the hands? No, it's too small. So you got the energy effect, which has a nice blue, goes a little bit lighter on the lower half. It is see-through, and from what I can tell, which hand would be the best suited for this one? I could look at the instructions, but yeah, I'm just trying it out, trying around. This one's okay, but really, you can play around with it. And then you got this one, which I'm guessing you just wrap around his arm. Yeah, it kind of comes apart. Wrap it around his arm, so for the jumping pose, and just have the blue flame wrap around his arm, and it also looks fantastic. See-through blue plastic, goes a little bit brighter at the end of it, but there's more because we have a second set of accessories. Here's his yummy barai, the fireball that kind of goes over the ground, which is actually super detailed. Look at all the kind of lightning. It looks a little bit like lightning, and I really appreciate that. It's pretty cool. And obviously you got the big Rugal energy ball, which we got one piece of Rugal, one with Terry, one with Iori, and Kyo. So that's the 4 pieces, and I want to combine it, but I just realized I don't know where my Rugal box is, so might have a problem with that. But there's one more thing. You got a nice pixelated version of the stage, the train yard, or the train station, or whatever it was called. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It doesn't have like a copyright logo. Well, there's one, SNK, all rights reserved. But it's not as big, and actually I kind of like this one, so yay. And it's gonna bring me to the final thoughts for this Iori Yagami figure. It's pretty simple. The only complaint I have is the choker. The choker is not cleanly painted, and they didn't have to do a lot of paint as such. Choker stands out even that much more worse. But everything else on the figure is fantastic. I don't have a single complaint. Also, there's a, which I didn't really mention, there's a little bit of dry brushing, a little bit of gray, a little bit of a gray wash on the white. It's barely noticeable under the light, but it is there, so keep that in mind. A little bit more detail, I guess. But yeah, articulation is nice. He looks very good, has tons of stuff, and even though he is a bit more pricey, the fact that he has that much stuff, all these energy facts, and like the big one for Rugal and yada 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 yada, I think overall it's worth it to me. So I'm gonna recommend this one, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever Iori wants. Like a good choker. Look at this mess. That's the only thing. But yeah, I laugh about those things. Ha ha ha.